I'd like you to tell us a little bit about how you got started with Renovatus, and maybe even the name of the ministry, what it means, that kind of thing. So, and Jim, feel free to jump in there. Don't let Pete have the whole spotlight. You jump in there too.
Well,
I'm practicing self-control over here.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Don't encourage it. Don't encourage it.
You're doing great, Jim. So back in 2003, we were involved with youth in youth ministry, and the youth pastor had invited us to go to a youth. It was a youth training conference, and it was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the title to the conference was Renovatus. That was and the word is a Latin word, and it means to restore. And at this time in my life, I was just really coming back to God. I had just a couple of years before that had really come back to God and was really in the early stages of my own process there. But the Lord, He spoke to me, and it was very clear, that what He said was, you will work with broken people. You will work with broken people. And so for a few years, I didn't know what all that meant. And so in 2007, we discovered that our sons were addicted to pain pills. And so we began this process of helping them, in their recovery. And that's actually, in 2011, that's how I actually met Jim, is that I had taken my son to the Freedom Farm in Boone, North Carolina.
Son number one.
Son number one. That's right. Son number one. And then a few months later, I brought son number two there, And so Jim and I have had this real close connection, relationship, for 10 years now. And so at 2011, we really knew that God was calling us. We knew that He was leading us in this process. We've been, working with our family, for a while now. So we knew, what it was that He, was calling us to do. We just didn't know quite how, what that looked like, how to start and things. So it took us a while to figure it out. And it was clear that we were to do something in our home. And so we remodeled our home, and we made it really conducive to have some what you would call split living. So we have an apartment that's in our home, and we were working with families. So we had husbands, wives, and children all living with us, and we did that for a while. And then it was, I always had this real desire to help a family, to help the family. And I had a gentleman call me one day, and we knew a guy, a mutual friend, that had just some really, really big, struggling drug addictions and overdoses, and he was in real bad shape. And he said, could we help him? And I'm like, well, we're really trying to work with family. And he said, he has two sons, Pete. And I'm like, oh, if we can, help fathers and sons, then that's helping family. If we can help sons to their parents, that's family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we still had the same heart, for mission, but our focus was had been widened somewhat. And then just about a year later, I had a phone call from a local pastor, and he said that he had a church member that had just gotten his third DUI, and his wife was about to divorce him, and his life was just really in bad shape. Could we help him? And so we started going to the jail. We started going to our local jail, working with this man that was an inmate there, and it was like I had such a heart for these guys that were in jail. So from 2015 till 2020, the majority of our guys who came farm jail. And then COVID happened, in 2020, and that, stopped us from going back into the jail. We're not allowed back in there. So we're really looking at, where are we going to get our guys now? Where are our guys coming from? 2015 also was a big year because that's the year that we started farming. So we saw where, guys, were struggling. A lot of them had no, like soft skills, people skills, didn't have a driver's license, didn't have an education, just really, hard for them to keep, permanent employment. And so we started farming, and that gives us a really good place now where the guys can learn these skills while they're going through the biblical counseling to be able to really be transformed. And that's been a big word for us recently, where we've come to realize that when people are restored to what? If they're restored back to where they were when they started, well, they were a mess when they're started. So we're not stopping at restoration. We're going for transformation here.
Amen.
And so that's been a big change. So there's been a definite journey. There's been a definite journey that the Lord's had us on, and it's been just a real, for ourselves, it's been a transformation process.